This episode is sponsored by Crisis Oat Milk, the only dairy alternative made specifically for people spiraling in the cereal aisle. Packed with omega 3s and unprocessed emotional baggage, Crisis Oat Milk pairs perfectly with your anxiety granola and that existential dread smoothie you've been choking down since 2020. Crisis Oat Milk, when you can't afford therapy, but you still want to feel something. Now available in Vanilla Panic and Unsweetened Regret. This episode is also sponsored by Farmers Only Fans, the steamy news site where agriculture meets algorithm. Watch real farmers strip their wheat fields. It's nothing but slow-mo plowing, suggestive tractor angles, and raw, unfiltered livestock content. No city slickers, no bread, just grain and gain. Use promo code BUNLESS to get your first month free. Okay, people of Earth, welcome to Six Sass Society stuff you won't remember next week. Look, I'm really glad you're here today because what we're talking about affects you, your family, and probably your job, even if you don't know it yet. I'm certainly apolitical, so don't take this episode as any sort of an endorsement. Now, this ain't one of those podcasts where we chase headlines and get all dramatic just for clicks. We're dealing with facts, no spin, no hype. Just real talk about why the US keeps getting played when it comes to foreign trade. And more importantly, why we're the only ones dumb enough to play fair when no one else does. Yes, Donald Trump, yeah, I know, polarizing guy, but he's taking a new swing at something every president since World War II knew was a problem and still didn't touch. From Truman to Biden, they all knew we were getting hosed on trade, but they played it safe. Trump, he's saying screw it and trying to fix it. That's the gamble. All right, and here's the truth bomb. America's getting screwed in global trade, and the numbers back it up. Foreign countries make trillions with a T off the United States, and you don't get nearly that back. Why? Because we let them dump their goods there, their cars, their tech, clothes, you name it, and you barely slap any restrictions on them. But try to sell our stuff over there? Good luck. Want to sell American cheese in Canada? Nope. Dairy's locked down tight. Want to get American rice or wheat into India? Forget it. They'll tax it, drown it in regulations, or block it outright. Even Mexico, our neighbor to the south, throws up all kinds of red tape. And don't even talk about Japan. Geraldo Rivera just went there with his family and couldn't find a single American car on the road. Not a Ford, not a Chevy, not even a Tesla. Why? Because by the time an American car gets to Japan, it's so jacked up with tariffs, taxes, and sorry, your tires aren't regulation nonsense that no Japanese buyer is going to touch it. I'm in the UK. You'll see the occasional Ford driving around, but no Cadillac, no Chevy, none of that. Meanwhile, in the US, every third car is a Toyota or Honda. Think about that, you guys. We let their stuff roll right in, cheap and easy, no problem. Why do we keep playing nice when no one else does? That's the heart of what Trump's trying to do, apparently. He's saying no more. If we're going to let our products, we're going to let your products in with open arms, then you're going to let ours in too. Fair's fair, and if you don't, cool, we're raising tariffs. Now, look, there's obviously a risk here. The stock market doesn't like disruption. You start rattling the global money cage, people get nervous. But long term, if he pulls it off, we might get manufacturing back, investment back, and jobs back. Not just any jobs. The kind of work that pays real money. Not Uber wages. $75 an hour union jobs, maybe. If you're into unions, I don't know. That's a whole nother subject for you to debate on your own. But that's the bet. And the media, minus maybe like Fox News and possibly Newsmax, they want Trump to fail. Hoping your president fails is like hoping a pilot flying the plane that you're all on fails. They want you scared. Recession incoming. You're going to lose your house. But most people don't even know what a tariff is. So they hear that noise and they just panic. If you understand the game, how American companies shipped jobs overseas to chase cheap labor, and how foreign countries block our products to protect their own, you start to see why this fight matters. The question is, do we finally stand up for ourselves or keep letting everyone else eat our lunch while smiling about it? That's where we are. Now, on to the fun stuff. A Generation X coping course. Are you a Gen Xer trying to survive in a Gen Z world? Sign up for our 3-week crash course, How to Speak TikTok Without Seizing Up and Dying. Learn how to decode phrases like "it's giving," "no cap," and "riz," all while clutching your cassette tapes and wondering what happened to Kevin Bacon. Brought to you by the same people who made the VHS to DVD converter. Enroll today and get a free starter pack of anti-wrinkle cream and Adderall. The nostalgia helmet. Tired of modern life? Wish you could just crawl back into the 80s and hide there forever? Introducing the nostalgia helmet. A full sensor headset that blasts Duran Duran, fills the air with Aquanet, and projects blurry VHS memories directly into your frontal lobe. Side effects may include mall flashbacks, emotional tears during The Breakfast Club, and an uncontrollable urge to buy a Trapper Keeper. Available exclusively through Sky Mall and emotionally stunted Etsy shops. Okay, folks, the UK is on the brink of an Easter-level carbohydrate crisis. Why? Because politicians who shall remain nameless on my show in an effort to keep the man from knocking on my door and taking me away, walked into a field, slapped a tax on a tractor, and now the farmers are on strike. And not just any farmers. These are flour farmers, like the kind who make sure your hot cross buns arrive fluffy and not as sad, dry hockey pucks. Apparently, politicians cooked up some budget changes so aggressive they had farmers checking if April Fools had started early. But it wasn't a prank. Here's the genius move. Inheritance tax relief for farmers and small businesses? Slashed. Anything above £1 million? Boom! 20% tax. Sounds like tariffs, doesn't it? That's right. They've basically told farmers, hey, congrats on owning land your granddad left you. Now sell it to pay your tax bill or starve. It's like Monopoly, but with real wheat and no get-out-of-debt-free card. And now, in what sounds like the plot to Footloose 2, Rise of the Buns or something, farmers are staging the first ever agricultural strike in UK history, and I'm here for it. Wow, they're sitting on thousands of tons of milling wheat like a stack of gold bullion. Farmer Andrew Ward, standing in front of 250 tons of wheat like a Bond villain with gluten-based demands, said, "We want empty shelves. That's what we want." Who hurt this man? He followed up with, "It might be April Fool's Day, but food shortages are no joke," end quote. Sir, it's hard to take you seriously when your protest weapon is the absence of scones. Wait, I love scones. This is a problem now. Anyway, by Easter, your buns may not be hot. They may not even be lukewarm. They may be non-existent. Farmer Ollie Harrison warned, quote, "We're going to run out of flour, which will result in running out of hot cross buns and bread." And in response, British people across the country gasped audibly into their tea and screamed, "But what about the toast?" Personally, I've never been too fond of a hot cross, given the history of the United States. But to be fair, the farmers have a point. They're land rich, cash poor. And being told to liquidate family farms just to keep up with taxes? Ugh. But also threatening Easter pastries might not be the PR slam dunk they think it is. Even other farmers are like, I don't know if this one's the vibe. Ben Aveling chimed in like the one guy at the pub saying, "Look lads, I get it, but maybe don't ruin Easter." He's worried that all this will just boost food imports, strengthen foreign supply chains, and, oh, the irony, make Britain more dependent on the stuff we're supposedly protesting against. Meanwhile, over at UK Flour Millers headquarters, they're acting like your mom when the power goes out and saying, Hey, we got candles. She's lighting candles, saying everything's fine. We're still getting wheat. We have candles. Flour. We're good. But, there's a quiet panic when they start mentioning checking ports and monitoring closely. Bottom line, the government pissed off the farmers. The farmers are now gatekeeping bread. And somewhere a 6-year-old child is asking, Mummy, why are the hot cross buns gone? And she has to explain because the politician, who still shall remain nameless in an effort to keep this host out of jail, tried to tax Granddad's barn. Next story. All right, before we close down today's emotional roller coaster of tax raids, farmer uprising, and the looming bun apocalypse, let's talk about generations. Specifically, Generation X and Generation Z. Now, you scroll through any social media comment section these days, you'd think these two generations are mortal enemies. Gen Z's out here doing TikTok challenges involving peeing in your pants and laundry pod consumption, and Gen Z is sitting in the corner like, back in my day, we drank from garden hoses and rode in cars with no seatbelts, and we turned out fine. Okay, first of all, no we didn't. We absolutely did not turn out fine. We're all in therapy, and the ones who aren't probably should be. Thanks, boomers. But here's the thing. No one seems to want to admit Gen X and Gen Z were kind of the same weird flavor of rebellious, just in different packaging. Gen X grew up latchkey kids. If you don't know what that means, we had our key to the house. It was usually on a chain around our neck because our parents were at work. So we're home alone with a microwave burrito and the vague threat of nuclear war. We had grunge, anti-establishment everything, and somehow 7 seasons of MacGyver. Gen Z, they were born into the digital apocalypse, climate crisis, pandemic lockdowns, and the pressure to look perfect online while pretending they're not sad. There's not a generational gap, there's a trauma handshake. Sure, Gen Z's doing silly dances online, but Gen X used to tease their bangs with aerosol hairspray while listening to Motley Crue and smoking cigarettes at 14. We did dumb stuff too. We just didn't have Wi-Fi to immortalize it. But when you scratch past the surface, there's so much overlap between us. I promise you, we both hate being stereotyped. We both want authenticity. We both think the planet's on fire and would like to maybe not die in a floating landfill. Thanks. But we both romanticize the past. Gen X with our mixtapes and Gen Z with their retro filters and 90s core fits from Depop. And both of us, we've had enough of being told we don't matter. Gen Z is reshaping the future. Gen X is redefining middle age. This is 50. Take that, boomers. They're both doing it their own way. Loud, messy, creative, honest. So instead of eye-rolling across the generational divide, what if we just high-fived across it instead? Gen X can teach Gen Z what life was like before the internet and that being mysterious is actually cool. And Gen Z can teach Gen X how to cry on camera and call it content. It's beautiful. At the end of the day, the most powerful campaigns, the most human moments, and the best memes come from tapping into what connects us, not what divides us. So let's raise a toast to the kids who watched MTV when it actually played music, and to the kids who learned to edit videos before they learned to drive. We're both weird. We're both amazing. And you're both the future, just from different starting points. Now, somebody get the Gen Z kids a Walkman and show the Gen X crew how to use Be Real. We'll be all right. Now go outside and touch grass, please. And that's it for this unhinged buffet of headlines. We covered everything from the rise of Bread-ageddon to Gen Z doing Olympic-level mental gymnastics on TikTok, while Gen X just wants to finish their wine in peace without being called boomers by mistake. Let this be your gentle reminder. Every generation has done weird, stupid, chaotic things. The only difference is now there's a ring light and a sponsored post involved. So maybe instead of trying to cancel each other over skinny jeans and sarcasm, we could just, I don't know, admit we're all the same brand of messed up, just in different fonts. As always, if you liked what you heard today, or at the very least, didn't throw your phone across the room in rage, then make sure you're following the Six Sad Society wherever your sweet, sweet ear candy is consumed. Leave a review. Send it to that one friend who still thinks conspiracy theories are just alternative facts. And for the love of carbs, check on your local farmer before Easter. If they look like they're about to go full Mad Max with a pitchfork, maybe write your MP before the buns vanish. We'll be back next week with more chaos, more nonsense, and more reasons to wonder how we've made it this far as a species. Stay weird, stay cynical, and stay tuned.